Amitabh Bachchan have come and stood outside just to listen to his voice. Like the theme of Purana Mandir, which they used in all the movies. He did the music for them, but the theme was repeated every time. He had so much work to his credit, but I don't think he got his dues. And he wasn't the kind to, go and sell himself and run after people. Or he wasn't the kind. He had too much dignity. Ajit started when he was very young. He was a teenager, and I think he was the first person to bring the pop culture to the country. He was the first pop artist, you can say. Basically, he started his career as a teenager when he was singing as Kid Dynamite. He was called Kid Dynamite, and I was in college also. I remember I used to just rush to the place where he'd be singing. He and Bidu was the lone Trojan. He was Kid Dynamite, and he was from the word go. He was like, and it just grew. His career just grew, and people just started doing stage shows all over India and abroad. And and then movies is the next thing. He was approached by Raj Kapoor. Raj Kapoor knew the family, Raj Saab, so he called him for an audition for his film Bobby. And Ajit was, of course, very young then, and not so career conscious. So he went to RK Studios and he did a audition, and Raj Saab made him sing a song which I heard. वो कहते हैं हमसे ये उम्र नहीं है प्यार की. And he just freaked out on the way Ajit sang it. So he said, you're going to record my songs for Bobby. I was a model then and I was a teenager too. And I went to Delhi for a fashion show and Ajit chased me there because he wanted to get married. And he just forgot about the audition and the singing, and he just did. So that song went to Shalinder. And he carried on with his stage shows and things like that. I think he did a lot of TV shows, like he did Ye Jo Hai Zindagi, then he did Dekh Bhai Dekh, for which he did the title music, title song. And he was the king of jingles. Everybody knew Ajit Singh, that in India, he was the king of jingles. And he did Katha Sagar, he did Dekh Bhai Dekh, he did Ye Jo Hai Zindagi. So people got to know him, and I really don't know how Tulsi ji met him. But once they met, they became such great friends that Tulsi, Ramsay, his wife, his children, his son, always at our house, and we were like a family. So the association just grew. So when Tulsi ji, king of horror, the Ramsays were absolutely the kings of horror. No one could touch them. And although the movies are so old now, okay, new techniques and all have come, but I don't think they've lost the flavor. People did try to make horror movies. A lot of people tried their hand, but nobody made it. Nobody came a patch close to them. And I think with them, the horror movie trend is like, now see, I'm not going to say anything, but see the horror movies that you can laugh. When you see a horror movie, I laugh. But the real horror movies, these guys knew how to make. And Tulsi was a fabulous director. Fabulous director. So when he was making Purana Mandir, obviously he wanted Ajit to do the music. So he came home. He used to very often come home, and then Ajit and me had this habit. Ajit would compose on his guitar, and he'd make a dhun, and he'd tell me, Gitli, write something on this. And I don't know, the words used to just flow. If he said write a love song or a sad song, the words would just flow and it would set with the music. So we'd make a lot of recordings at home and put them on cassette and keep them. So one day when Tulsi ji came home, he was hearing Ajit's song. He said, Ajit, I want you to record for me. I want you to do my music. When he heard this song, Wo Beete, then he just freaked out. I mean, he said, I want this one. Because actually, that time he was planning to make a love story, which never happened. So the song was recorded in the studio and went into Purana Mandir. And it was picturized on Aarti Gupta and Monish Behl. And it was to whatever part it was complete. We were very much part of the Ramsays family. We were like a family. So everybody loved it so much. The composition, the words, and Ajit sang the song himself. That Tulsiji decided that let's make a female version. So the female version is again the same one, but it was sung by Asha Bhosle. That's how this song came into it. And now we've recently re-released it as a tribute to Ajit. My daughter has sung it, Tanya Singh. She's sung it. I've written a few new words, opening lines, and we've revamped the music. And it's I think got a maybe more, touching about 30 million hits right now. I may be mistaken, there may be more. It was just released a month ago, and that's a tribute to him. Yeah. Ajit was a very original and inspired composer. I mean, he was not a stereotype that he had one style of music or something. So when a scene was explained to him, he would compose like the theme of Purana Mandir, which they used in all the movies. He did the music for them, but the theme was repeated every time. So he was an inspired guy. Like, he was very talented. So he just had to hear a mood or the thought, and he'd create a tune. So he was very good at that. He was as good singing in English as in Hindi. I mean, he did a lot of shows abroad. He cut an album in Kenya, which is one of the best songs I think you could have heard. I mean, you should try hearing it. It's called Higher. It's written and composed and sung by him.
I want you all to believe that you're dead. This is your soul leaving your body, going on a trip. Higher, higher, higher. But it's knocking at the gates of heaven. Higher, get a little higher and higher. The sun is just a ball of fire. Higher, higher, till I'm knocking at the gates of heaven.
Well, he didn't really act in the movies. He didn't want to, although he was given a lot of offers. Basically, he was a singer and a composer. He did I think he did one episode in Katha Sagar, and he did some episodes in S.S. Oberoy's Ye Jo Hai Zindagi. He did a role also in Ek Hans Ka Joda, but he would just do cameos. He was not interested in acting. So he was versatile, but I don't think acting in movies he didn't want to pursue it. After he stopped working in the industry, he just gave it up. I also didn't bother to pursue it. I wrote 2 movies for the Ramsays also, produced by them. One was Yeti, the Abominable Snowman. It was a very different kind of a movie. And one was a movie called Nainsafi. It had a very big star cast, like, Amrish Puri, Shatrughan Sinha. Chunky's first film it was. Mandakini, Sonam. That was written by me. But I too didn't pursue. Whatever work the Ramsays did, he did with them. And that's it. He composed the music and he did the background score for them. Then he did a lot of work for Cine Vista also. Katha Sagar was the serial. He was the music director for that. He had so much work to his credit, but I don't think he got his dues. And he wasn't the kind to, go and sell himself and run after people. Or he wasn't the kind. He had too much dignity. So industry's not very kind. Although he could have made it right to the top, like when he used to sing at Talk of the Town, I remember It used to be packed. And they used to close the doors, the main door, because they couldn't take in more people. And even people like Amitabh Bachchan have come and stood outside just to listen to his voice. So it's not like he couldn't have been right on the top, but he didn't have it in him to, he had too much dignity. He had too much dignity and he had too much confidence. I mean, he said, I'm good, I'm a good composer, I'm a good singer. If people don't know my value, it's all right. He never heart sold himself. Yeah, I am happy that all this work is being represented to the modern generation who might not have heard it at that time, and it's very nice that people will get to know his work, to hear his compositions, to hear his voice. He has the most fabulous voice in the world.